Well, it's just gone 9 o'clock Central African time. This is Btv-News. We are broadcasting live from the nation's capital, Gaborone. I'm Mulibile Samoka. Let's take a look at stories making headlines. President hails Ambassador Phillips' deep expertise and global diplomatic experience. Court orders a state apology to Bridget Motsepe over false 100 billion Pula theft claims. Kenya's Interior Minister accuses protesters of attempting to overthrow the government. Liza Osaking will join us later on our sport desk. Patricia Shomanyani is interpreting in sign language. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Now in our first story, President Advocate Maboko met with Botswana's newly appointed ambassador to Switzerland and permanent representative to the United Nations in Geneva, Ms. Ntinsana Motsete Phillips, who paid a courtesy call on him today. He commended Ms. Motsete Phillips as a talented leader who has earned her stripes, noting her merit, deep expertise and wealth of international experience. She succeeds Dr. Talia Monokome, whose ambassadorial tenure ended last December. Motsete Phillips' appointment marks a new chapter in Botswana's diplomacy, with her playing a pivotal role in strengthening Botswana's voice on the multilateral stage. With over 30 years of experience across top global institutions, Ms. Motsete Phillips brings up unparalleled expertise in multilateral governance, finance and strategic leadership.
We have in Ms. Ntinsana Phillips, a very able citizen of this republic who has risen to the highest levels internationally. She has earned her stripes. She brings, therefore, to this role and to the service of the republic immense talent, immense capability, immense expertise and experience. And this accords with our approach of appointing as servants of the Republic on merit. And she's an exemplar of merit. Born here, raised here, studied here, went and served at the highest levels internationally and acquitted herself admirably. And we've only received huge praises and commendations in relation to her. And now we take and place her directly in the service of the Republic of Botswana. And this is to now formally release her to go and take up her role and to serve. And so she is here. She is ready. She is a loyal, very patriotic, very competent citizen of Botswana.
For over 6 decades, Botswana and the United States of America have been hailed for the continued significant strides in working closely and the efforts to eradicate HIV/AIDS, as well as an incredible initiative of launching Botswana's first satellite in the space. The remarks were made by USA Ambassador to Botswana, Mr. Howard Vranken, on Thursday on the 249th Independence Anniversary of the United States of America celebration in Gaborone. Mojadi Mukibelo.
The celebrations come prior to the 4th July, which stands as a defining moment in the history of the United States and not only marks the nation's independence, but also reflects on the mutual relations between Botswana and USA for their long bilateral cooperation and their joint efforts through initiating different initiatives in eradicating HIV, amongst others.
Ours is a partnership grounded in mutual respect and shared ambitions. It's a partnership that includes defense cooperation, from hosting major conferences that spread our shared values and appreciation for the rule of law to a shared commitment toward a safer Southern Africa. Today, we recommit ourselves toward a course focused on trade, innovation, and investment, where American companies and Botswana entrepreneurs grow together. We want our two nations to be safer, stronger, and more prosperous.
According to Minister Botale, tremendous progress between the two countries has been witnessed by the recent launch of Botswana's first satellite.
A major milestone in our partnership was also achieved on the 15th of March 2025 with the successful launch of Botswana's first satellite, BotSat-1, as the ambassador mentioned, aboard SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from the Vandenberg Space Force base in California. This accomplishment is a testament to Botswana's growing engagement with the United States space and technology leaders and our commitment to innovation and specific advancement.
From the prevention of violence against women and girls to climate resilience in the Okavango to youth entrepreneurship, literacy, food security, your efforts have saved lives, they have inspired change, and they've laid the foundation for a future in which assistance becomes unnecessary because self-reliance becomes reality. And that is what we believe in, and that is what we will continue to support.
The two countries have committed to further continue working closely together in promoting sustainable economic development, regional integration, global peace and stability. Mojadi Mukibelo, Btv-News, Gaborone.
Business Botswana Francistown chapter has taken lead in raising funds which will be used to refurbish Francistown Police Station and its associated staff houses. The initiative, done in partnership with the Ministry for State President, responds to the pressing need to enhance working and living conditions of police officers. Speaking during a meeting with the business community in Francistown, the Minister for State President, Mr. Moiti Mohasa, applauded Business Botswana for recognizing the role played by the police in protecting and safeguarding the interest of citizens, welcoming such support in going a long way in providing security and stability for the business community. Mr. Mohasa also noted this gesture comes at an opportune time as government faces financial challenges.
If you live in Francistown and there is a lot of crime, a lot of people will not be interested in staying in Francistown. They will actually move out of Francistown because the environment will not be conducive for their families. So it is in the interest of the business community to ensure that they work hand in glove with the police, to ensure that the environment in Francistown is conducive, not only for themselves, but also for the people who happen to be their customers. Now I want to appeal to you. Well, you need to talk to your members, and not just your members, but the community at large, that you set up a fund which you will control as a business community. The police stations that we are talking about are our assets. They are there to serve us. The people who are supposed to populate those offices are our brothers and sisters who should work under a proper and conducive environment.
So let us work together. We'll open the fund. Let us meet, let us convene as the business community in Francistown and see how we help each other and see how we help our community. You know, all of these investments are based on the peace that we have here. For so many years, as the community of Francistown, Ramahasa, we have enjoyed a very serene and peaceful environment.
Most of our police establishments where we deliver business have actually gone past their cycle maintenance period. And the community service centers are the greatest areas that have been affected by this state of our affairs.
After signing a joint military cooperation plan on the part of Botswana and Namibia to sensitize communities living along their borderline on the importance of abiding by stipulated exit and entry laws and existing risks of theft. In September 2022, the two countries have embarked on a nationwide tour along the Botswana and Namibia borderline, sharing information regarding the rules and regulations that need to be followed. Leso Mokwaisi compiled this report.
Many times, people living along the country borderline are often faced with challenges of observing cross-border regulations as the movement across become a challenge when there is no gazetted point. This sometimes led to poaching activities with no trace. To address these issues, officials from Botswana and Namibia embarked on a campaign along the borderline, teaching the community members about the importance of obeying the country's border laws.
Le direletse go ruta setšhaba le bana le sabi botlhe ka botlhokwa jwa go tshela ka kagiso le didula
The mandate of the CIMIC program is to teach the people living along the border how to live in peace, and it also advocates for a good relationship between those people. We wish to see people living along the border living in peace without any challenges. We usually have cases where people cross the border at ungazetted areas just because they feel it is not wrong, but it is wrong whether you are just going for a short period of time or not. After addressing these residents, they also had this to say. When a person crossing with an identity card does not come back, will we see the immigration officer looking for them? I think the border fence should be maintained. The reason why people are just crossing is because there is no fence. We have Namibia and Botswana, and the animals are just moving freely. But if an animal destroys something from other part of the country and it moves to the other country, it is no longer our animal. We cannot kill it. This exercise will be conducted in 21 villages in Botswana and 19 villages in Namibia. It is expected to end on the 2nd of next month at Kole village. Btv-News, New Kanahas.
You are still watching Btv News. Thank you for staying with us. Now, moving on. The Minister of Higher Education launched its anti-corruption policy that is aimed at paving way for a corrupt-free environment at all entities under the ministry. The Minister, Mr. Prince Maele, says the policy is of great importance to foster an enabling environment free from corrupt practices while also recultivating public confidence in the ministry. He added that processes and procedures should be well defined in order to avoid shortcuts that may lead to corrupt practices. The launch of this policy was held in Palape on Thursday. Gabriel Meriki.
A policy that was first drafted in February this year was launched on Thursday. The architect of the policy, Mr. Peter Mafokate, who is the Deputy Project Manager responsible for anti-corruption in the Ministry of Higher Education, says the policy will be very pivotal in making sure that the ministry conducts its duties in an ethical manner, free from corruption, as well as promoting whistleblowing.
The Ministry of Higher Education is making a solemn pledge that we shall conduct our operations in an ethical and transparent manner, abhorring and detesting all forms of corruption in our ministry. The policy will be strengthening and sustaining an ethical work culture within the ministry, empowering employees of the ministry to identify, prevent, and act against acts of corruption, supporting whistleblowing and the timely reporting of corruption whenever it occurs.
The DCC commend and applaud them for having found it appropriate to prioritize anti-corruption as a foundation and roadmap for achieving their mandate at a very formative stage.
When officially launching the anti-corruption policy, the Minister of Higher Education, Mr. Prince Maele, says they had to identify areas that were prone to corruption, and coming up with this policy was necessary to prevent any act of corruption.
The ministry acknowledges and is alive to the gravity corruption is likely to cause and its implication on public service delivery. Corruption is a risk and has devastating and far-reaching implications at a national level. Corruption leads to erosion of public confidence in the services provided to customers. Corruption tarnishes the image of government and the country at large, and hence scares away potential investors and tourists.
A reaffirmation of our collective resolve to build a Botswana that is just, transparent, and accountable. Corruption does not only weaken institutions, it erodes trust, stifles development, and compromises the future of our children. That is why the fight against corruption must never be left to the government alone.
The minister have been applauded for taking such a giant leap in the fight against corruption, which requires all to actively take part and resist corruption. Gabriel Mereki, Btv News, Palape.
In a landmark ruling, the Lobatse High Court has directed the government to issue a formal apology to South African businesswoman Bridget Motsepe for implicating her in a widely discredited 100 billion pula embezzlement case. The order instructs the government to publish an unconditional apology in different media houses here locally and abroad in the USA, UK and South Africa for defaming Ambassador Bridget Motsepe. Motsepe had approached the courts seeking remedy for statements that were made against her in the infamous butterfly case.
In 2019, the government, through a high-profile case, famously known as the Butterfly, approached the cause of Botswana, claiming that Bridget Motsepe, the former president Ian Khama, Velemia Maswabi, and the late Isaac Khosi were alleged to be involved in the missing of 100 billion pula from Bank of Botswana. In addition, Mr. Jaco Hubona, an investigator employed by the Directorate of Corruption and Economic Crime, deposed to an affidavit in proceedings before the High Court of Botswana, in which he stated under oath that Ambassador Bridget Motsepe was co-signatory to bank accounts in which funds allegedly stolen from the Bank of Botswana were laundered and implicated her in financing terrorism. Fast forward to today, Motsepe's legal team have always been of the view that the allegations made by Hubona against Motsepe and supported by the state he mentions are entirely false and were made recklessly, therefore approached the court for remedy. Motsepe's plea was answered by the Lobatse High Court before Judge Mudiri Litsididi through a settlement deal that government of Botswana, the DCEC, the DIS, and Mr. Hubona unconditionally retract the allegations and apologize to Ambassador Motsepe.
It was a defamation suit in terms of which she was seeking damages to the tune of about 20 million. So having considered the papers and having taken instructions, because you'll remember that when these proceedings commenced, the regime was a different one. So obviously there has to be a distinction in terms of policy. There's been a shift because the orientation, this one is a human rights centric approach. We then took a decision that the proper course would not be to fight the proceedings because we realized that a wrong had been committed against this individual and it was therefore prudent to bring the proceedings to an end in the manner that we did.
The settlement also directs the respondent to publish an apology and retraction on the homepage of the Government of Botswana website for 7 consecutive days. It also allowed that an advertisement be made in the United States of America's Wall Street Journal, the United Kingdom's Financial Times, and the South African-based Sunday Times and Botswana's Mihi newspaper. The parties have also agreed that an advertisement be made during the news bulletins broadcast by the following broadcasters, being CNN International and the South African Broadcasting Corporation News Channel.
We are grateful for the new government of Botswana that recognised the terrible injustice that had been done against her and has acknowledged that in open court today, and also pledged to make sure it's thoroughly investigated how this happened. And we are of course grateful to the judge and to everyone in the whole legal team who has contributed to what has happened here today.
The respondent, which is the government, is further interdicted and restrained from publishing any statement that says or implies that the applicant financed terrorism in Botswana or that she is the co-signatory of funds stolen from the Bank of Botswana for that purpose. The respondent is directed to pay the applicant's costs on a party-to-party scale, including the cost of 2 counsel, and that Motsepe abandons her claim of damages, save that the government shall be liable for the expenses that the applicant reasonably incurred in the vindication of her good name. Ungutle Thamage, Btv News, Lobatse High Court.
Now, in news further afield, Kenya's Interior Minister Kipchumba Murkomen has accused protesters of attempting to overthrow the government during a day of deadly demonstrations. At least 10 people were killed in the previous day's unrest, which was followed by looting and arson in Nairobi and other cities. Murkomen claimed that the protesters were trying to enact regime change and that criminal anarchists had unleashed a wave of violence, looting, sexual assault, and destruction upon the Kenyan people. The demonstrations were initially called to mark the anniversary of anti-government protests last year. Liza Oseking on standby to give you the sport news.
Thank you so much, Olibile. Good evening. I am Liza Oseking, and we start here. Head of International Motorcycling Federation, or FIM, in Botswana, Khomolemo Chibana, says that they are well prepared and ready to host the esteemed annual Kawajun Challenge and Cultural Festival over the weekend in Kawa Village. Pakos Darek has the full report.
Khomolemo went on to say that this year's edition has seen major changes as the event will be run by the private sector for the first time in its 11 years of existence.
Going forth, they will actually triple the size in Kawa.
Despite the low numbers of local riders and drivers who have registered to compete, Khomolemo expressed hope that things will change as the week progresses.
I think there should be around 50 riders registered. Phone is a calendar, ting, but register and won't be another by 50 100. But don't be shocked to get that. You go out and work. Can I get the quite bike in Hotel, what I quality?
As the event is popularly known for the thrilling performances by bikers and drivers, Khomolemo says there will be prizes presented to winning participant as a way of acknowledging their efforts.
Modi rider ra bangani tsena ka bona hore bana le meatswanyana e re tlo ba tswanga yona ha ba sana ba hetsa go ke gone gore le go revive khawa ke kana ke bone bangare isito ta ho sna dikuta le dikoloi ga gona khawa ya no re be ile ra mo bona so go re bangwe ka sengwana gore tota ba nne teng ka gore ke bone the likes of that.
Following the Kawajun Challenge and Cultural Festival, the Botswana Motorsport Association will host the Botswana Off-Road Championship. Pakos Darek, Btv Sport, Gaborone.
We are now switching codes. The Botswana Tennis Association Vice President Technical Nonofo Tusitse says that the annual Botswana Open tournament serves as a key preparation platform for senior players targeting international events such as the Davis Cup. He said this on Thursday as in Gaborone as he outlined the tournament plans ahead of its start this weekend. Kagiso Molelekwa.
Utusitse noted that while the event does not boost international rankings, it provides crucial practice against global opponents as it sharpens players' competitive edge for future tournaments.
Botswana Open is our biggest tournament in terms of senior events. We host
Botswana Open annually to give senior players game time, preparing for bigger tournaments like Davis Cup. It doesn't impact royal rankings, but builds much readiness.
Junior players tournament
He confirmed significant growth in this year's edition.
After a very long time,
we have 3 sponsors this year. International player numbers have also gone up. Prize money has jumped from 4,000 pula from previous tournaments to 12,000 pula this year, showing a major improvement.
But we are now talking about 12,000 to the champions.
It has been a combination of both training in the gym and training on court, which I can say has been going well. I can speak for myself and the whole team, those of us that will be playing Botswana Open, saying that we have been putting in enough work in the gym. We've been going for recovery sessions, we'll be coming for training sessions at least 2 times a day. So I can say the work has been done.
I arrived here about a week ago. I'm just trying to get used to the altitude, the atmosphere, the courts, trying to train twice a day and just be as ready as I can.
The annual Botswana Open will run from Saturday through until the beginning of July. Players from Zimbabwe, Zambia, Eswatini, South Africa and Namibia will compete with the champion walking away 12,000 pula. Kariso, Modalekwa, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
Meanwhile, Botswana Tennis Association received a morale booster just a few hours before the start of their annual Botswana Open tournament, billed for the 28th of June to the 1st of July at the National Tennis Center in Gaborone. Botswana Oil has sponsored the tournament with 50,000 pula. Standard Chartered Bank shelled out 25,000, while Kalahari Brewers Limited is the tournament beverage partner. Botswana Tennis Association President YZ Thipe says they managed to collect 85,000 pula for the tournament. Winners of both the men and women categories will walk away with 12,000 pula each. Meanwhile, Botswana National Olympic Committee Senior Vice President Tshepo Sitale has applauded various stakeholders for contributing to the development of local sport.
As I've already alluded, this tournament is curtain raiser to the Davis Cup, so the level of competition is going to be very high. We've increased the prize money from last year. Last year, the total prize money was about 75,000. This year, it's 85,000, which means both the men and the women's singles winner would walk away with 12,000.
I believe that it's through this tournament like this that we'll be able to produce future Olympians. And I want to urge that you guys should work towards having a plan towards LA 2028 and making sure that by 2032 we have at least a tennis player at the Olympics. Know that as a country we are going through credit crunch, and having to see Botswana Oil, Standard Chartered sparing some money for a good cause. Sport is a sector that is over 600 billion a year, and therefore we need to find how we can use sport. Currently, with our diamonds not selling, sport is one avenue that can be explored. Sports tourism is a big sector, and I believe that today having all these players from across the region coming by, it's sports tourism, and I believe that other sports sectors or other players in our country will embrace what sports can do.
And that is it for our sport this evening. Ulibile is standing by to give us a reminder of our top stories.
President hails Ambassador Philip's deep expertise and global diplomatic experience. Court orders a state apology to Bridget Motsepe over false 100 billion pula theft claims. Kenya's Interior Minister accuses protesters of attempting to overthrow the government. Well, that is all the news we had for you this Friday. Weather is up next.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's weather forecast. My name is Kumo Cecil Monarch. This evening, clear skies are visible over the entire country, and on Saturday, we're expecting some cloudy conditions becoming partly cloudy later over southern, central and northeast district, while over the remaining areas of our country, we're expecting some clear skies. In the morning, very cold temperatures are expected over Khansi, Kgalagadi, southern, southeast Gauteng and Kwenen district, with minimums ranging between -3 degrees Celsius to 0 degrees Celsius. Over the remaining areas of our country, we're expecting some cold temperatures, with minimums ranging between 3 degrees Celsius over Mahalape to 7 degrees Celsius in Kasane. The public is advised to take necessary precautions. In the afternoon, we're expecting some cold temperatures over Hansi Khalagadi, southern southeast Gauteng, southern central and northeast district, with maximums ranging between 17 to 21 degrees Celsius. Over northern central and Gamiland, we're expecting some mild afternoon temperatures with maximums of 22 to 24 degrees Celsius, while over Chobe, we're expecting some warm afternoon temperatures. On Sunday, we're expecting some cloudy conditions clearing later over southern central district. Over the remaining areas of our country, we're expecting some clear skies, except over Gauteng and Chobe district, where we're expecting some few pairs of clouds to be visible. In the afternoon, cold temperatures are expected over Hansi Khalagadi, southern southeast Gauteng and southern central and northeast district, with maximums ranging between 17 to 21 degrees Celsius. Over northern central and Gamiland district, we're expecting some mild afternoon temperatures with maximums of 22 to 24 degrees Celsius, while over Chobe district, we're expecting some warm afternoon temperatures. That's weather forecast. Have yourself a good evening.
Wetsora tswelela maitiso a ngwaga le ngwaga a Khawa June Challenge ya butswetse mmuso maitseboeng ano fa a buisa balatedi ba maitiso ao tona wa tikologo le bojanala re Winter Molotsi a re maitiso ao a na le bokgoni ba go ka nonotsha itsholelo ya lefatshe leno a re puso e na le maikaelelo a go fetla mebereko mme maitiso a ka thusa go itlhalla maitlamo a bone go ntsha banana mo mekgwatlheng.
Gampieno re dumela gore re mo tseleng e siameng mme a re bona bojanala o ka golela mo leveleng e re eletsang re ka itumella go itse gone gore itsholelo ya rona e simolola go tswa kana ka tsela e leng gore ba ga itshora e le bogela mme gape ba ga itso re batla gore re leboge ba bothe ba e leng gore ba supporta thulaganyo ya bojanala ya Khawa le ba ba tswang kgakala ba supporta thulaganyo ya Khawa. Ke gakologela gore mo nakong e hitileng ke santse ke le mo parlamente ke ise ke nne tona mme ebile ke le mo parlamente wa kganetso ke ne ke nna ke bona Khawa ke bona mo maranyaneng nngwe ya di highlights tsa Khawa and the support from former President Rekam. One of the highlights tsa yone tse ke neng ke di bona mamaranyane tse le lona le di bone ke ka ha ile gore o na supporta mmino wa Paul Kakateng ke ra gore o ka tswa a bana go kgona sa o kgone thata ka gore ke ne ka bona a itshwareletse ka stilo mme support yone o inetse mmino ka tsela ye ga khamatsang ba gaetso mo e leng gore mongwe le mongwe ga o gakologelwa wa mo gakologela mme mo go lona batho ba Khawa re ta tswella ka go le leboga re le lebogela tshiamo ya lona re le lebogela kamogelo ya lona le lorato la lona le le supang nako le nako ke sone se le bonang ba tswa kwa khotsa batho ba ba tswang go dikgaolong ka go harologana ba tsweletse ka go ta ka bokete mo kgaolong ya Khawa ke lorato la lona ke lorato la bogori ja motse wo bogosi ja kgaolo yeno jo ile gore ngwaga le ngwaga bo a le kgalemela lona ba le tswang konte gore le tsamaye le boe ka